Yeah, we're having a little issue. Give me 1 second.
Hello, I'm Whitney Kobrin, the love coach. And today I'm going to be talking about 4 ways that busy singles can make time for love. So I'd like to share my screen here, but I'm unable to right now, so we'll get to that. So 4 ways that busy professionals or entrepreneurs, business owners can make more time for love. I find that we all have this "I'm too busy" excuse. And I get it. You have a lot on your plate. You are busy. You don't know if you have time to online date, to meet someone. You don't know if you have time to that it takes to nurture a relationship. But what I found is that this is usually a priority issue, not a time issue, because dating doesn't have to take up your whole life. We can find balance with it. So we often have to dig a little deeper and see what the real reason is. I think it's interesting that in 2019, we all found ourselves suddenly quarantined, and we had no commute time, no kids' activities, no social plans. And what did you do at that time? Did you learn a new language? Did you clean out the garage? Did you do the things that you said you never had time for? And if you did, I applaud you. But what I found is a lot of people just continued to spend their time the way they normally did, watching TV, eating, cooking, whatever that was. So if you feel like I'm too busy to date or I'm too busy to have a relationship, I challenge you to find the real reason underneath, because it's probably just not a priority for one reason or another. The next tip for finding more time for dating is to use technology. Now, I know that online dating has gotten a bad rep. One thing that it's known for is being a meat market. There's so many people out there. It's very easy to move on and get to the next one. There's a lot of hurt people and jaded people that make it an unpleasant experience. But I have some statistics here from an article called Dating Apps Are Making Marriages Stronger that was run in the Wall Street Journal. And some people think that it's still weird to go online, but by now, 1 in 6 Americans has dated online. So that shows you that it's not just desperate or weird people, but it's everyone. The challenge is that you're looking for needles in a haystack. But my advice is always, don't get distracted by the hay. Move on and keep looking for that needle. And that needle is an exceptional person. And if you're looking to attract an exceptional person, you also have to be exceptional and portray yourself as exceptional. Nowadays, more than a third of couples getting married have met online. So there are real relationships coming out of it. There are engagements and marriages coming out of it. And it can be a tool that can help you to streamline the process. Another idea of using technology to create more time for dating is to video chat with someone before you meet them. Oftentimes, you know within the first 5 minutes of meeting someone whether you'd like to spend more time with this person or not. And getting on a video chat, which has become super popular and accepted over this past year with pandemic, can really show you a bit more about that person. It sometimes allows you to see their house. You can see if they live in a mess or if they have a nice place or if they have pets. I mean, you can learn a lot about someone by having a video chat with them. But I do urge you to meet in person as soon as possible, because a lot of these relationships that get too deep while it's still online can fizzle out or explode because it's different in person. So my recommendation is use an online dating app like Bumble, Tinder, OkCupid, Hinge to be introduced to people you wouldn't otherwise be introduced to. Then do a video chat as a screening call. And when you're talking to people early on, get to the point. The point is to know if their goals and values are aligned with yours. You know, background is great, interests are great, but you don't have to have the same exact interests. You know, if you meet someone who likes stamp collecting or motorcycles or, you know, a lot of these different interests, you might not have the same as theirs, but that's okay, because we also need to allow in relationships to each person to have their own separate life as well, and their own interests, as well as interests that you share together. So I find that a lot of people, when they meet someone new, the questions they ask are a lot like an interview. You know, it could be a daterview where they just ask them about their job and their background and where'd you go to school and their resume and their interests. And those kind of dates don't usually lead to a spark. And with my experience working as a matchmaker, people would often leave the date saying, I like the person, I would see them as a friend, but I just didn't feel any spark. And attraction is more than physical appearance. Attraction is also a pull, a magnetic pull that happens between two people. And that comes from opening up, being vulnerable, and having more deep conversation than just resume interview questions. Another way that you can use technology to help you is using Yelp. Again, when I was working as a matchmaker and I was working in all different locations because I was remote, I would use Yelp to find a place. Let's say I knew that the people liked wine, I would find a wine bar, I would find out when it's open, get the reviews, check over the menu, make sure they have food. I mean, nowadays with a lot of restrictions still in place, you want to find out if the place is still open, if they have outdoor seating, and you can find a lot from Yelp. Tip number 2 is be present. When you're a busy person, a lot of times our minds are on 5 different things at once, and it doesn't work. Multitasking is actually switch tasking. So if you're doing 2 things at once, you're checking your phone because you have a deal that's going through, and you're also having a date, and you're also waiting to hear from your babysitter, your mind has to process the switch. So when you're here on your phone and then you look up at your date, your mind takes a little bit of time to switch the task, to switch the focus. And you could come back to conversation, they say something and you go, wait, what? I'm sorry, my mind was still on this work email. And it's really rude. Let's all just put our phones away when we're on a date. Being present means that you're not in the past. So part of this is getting over past relationships or what some other person said that you're dating, and not ruminating or feeling jaded or being hurt. Don't even bring up the past. I recommend to people when they're first dating and getting to know each other, don't talk about your exes, don't talk about your past relationships. One sentence should sum it up just fine. If they say, are you divorced? And you say, yes, I am divorced. And they say, oh, what happened? You're like, we could get to that another time, but here we are. Let's be present in the moment. Also, a lot of people get their mind ahead of themselves and they're in the future, which can cause you to feel anxious, worried. Or a lot of people will ask questions like, well, are you looking to get married? This is common with women, especially women in their 30s. And they'll ask this as one of the first questions. And then if the guy says no, or if he hems and haws, she'll automatically throw him out of consideration. And I have to say that's a really big mistake, because what I find is most men, especially in that age group, they are looking for someone exceptional. So their goal is not get married. Their goal is find an amazing woman. And so if this woman's on a date and she is amazing, but then she starts talking about, oh, do you want to have kids? Do you want to have this in a marriage? And where do you want to live in the future? She's not present. She's in the future. So if she can just come back to the present and show herself for her own amazing glory that she is, and be present with him and finding out more about him to see if he's even someone that she would want to be with, that is so much better and gets such better results than being in the future and trying to, make these decisions about the person you're with before you've really even gotten to know them. Another way to be present is to set intentions. I'm a big fan of having affirmations as well as intentions and goals. So your intention on the date could be, my intention is to have fun and get to know this person. And that really lightens things up a lot more than saying, my intention is to find out if this person is the one. That puts a lot of pressure on everybody. So the intention of having fun, the intention of getting to know someone and making the most of your time is really helpful. Aim to have a good time, not to be liked. A lot of people worry too much about being liked, and then they put on this false self or they hold back. And either the person falls for someone that they're not, if they're being inauthentic, or the person never shows their true personality and then they just come across as boring. So aim to have fun, not to be liked. Be yourself. Don't interview. I already mentioned that. And give the person your undivided attention. Now, one thing, this is a tip for those of us who are short on time. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So this is a little tricky, but I know a couple who have been together a long time, and one of their very first dates was doing their taxes together. They both were very, very busy people, and he had asked her on a date. She said, no, I really have to get to my taxes. And he said, oh, so do I. And both people agreed. This is not the kind of date that you can force somebody into, but both people agreed to spend the day doing their taxes together. And they killed 2 birds with 1 stone. They got it done. They ordered a beautiful dinner together, and they ended up having a really good time, way better than they would have if they were doing it alone. So there's a difference here between giving your undivided attention and killing two birds with one stone. You know, don't be checking work email and distracting yourself if you're not both on the same page. Another way to kill two birds with one stone is if there's a restaurant or an activity that you've been wanting to check out, take a date there. A lot of people have done axe throwing or, you know, those type of fun activities, and anything that gets your blood pumping and your adrenaline going is good. It's good for dates. It's good for attraction. It's good for feeling excited with that person and building a bond. Another way to be present is to communicate your expectations clearly. If you are, say, a business owner and you really are busy and you really don't have a lot of time, then when you're dating and when you're looking to meet someone amazing, communicate that to them. Let them know, I'm going to be in the office from this time to this time, and I'm not going to be able to respond to your texts. So please understand that I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I have to be focused on work when I'm at work. And if the other person can't respect that, then that's a sign, you know, that they're not respecting you. But most likely when there's clear communication, expectations set, it works out so much better for both people. You know, just be honest and let someone know. Another thing about being present is that we tend to notice our synchronicity. When we're calm, cool, collected, we notice subtle nuances and little things that, you know, signs from the universe that let us know that we're on the right path, or signs from the universe or from our intuition that tell us that we're not on the right path. So pay attention to those, you know, and I am especially speaking to women because women tend to be, you know, in our heads a lot instead of in our bodies. And the more that you as a woman can be in your body and noticing your body, your intuition will speak to you and it will provide a lot more clarity instead of the, well, I don't know. You know, a lot of the women that I work with as a love coach, they're unsure. They don't know what to do and they get confused and stuck. And that's when they come to me to help them figure it out. But what I do is I help them to get in touch with their own intuition and their own body and to be able to listen and find the answers that they're looking for. Another tip is to notice your confirmation bias. So the more we can clear our minds and be open to the experience, the more we're going to be able to learn and be present. You know, we all have this confirmation bias. Like if someone says, you know, all blondes are dumb, and then you go on a date with a blonde and you start noticing things like, yeah, see, I knew it. I was right. She's dumb. But let go of your preconceived notions and just be present. And then you'll start to notice things that might be different than what you expected. And those are often gifts. So tip number 4 is your mindset. And this is the most important. It's everything. Because people will keep coming up against the same patterns and the same challenges over and over again. And this is why second marriages have a higher failure rate than first. And third marriages have an even higher failure rate than first or second. Because a lot of people, there are a lot of people who get divorced and it's for the best and it's a good thing for them. You know, when I meet people who are divorced, I tell them congratulations, not I'm sorry. But there are many people who leave a marriage and think the next one's going to be better, only to bring their same self and their same opinions and their same beliefs and the same mindset, and they end up coming up against similar challenges again, and then that relationship doesn't work out. So it's really important to recognize where your actions are coming from, who you're attracting, because your mindset really does put out a beacon for the type of person that you're going to attract. Another thing about the mindset is you really want to make dating fun and you want to be playful and have fun. I love this photo because it looks like they're just having so much fun and being so playful and cute. And you can see that they're very much in love. When we're upset, hate the world, annoyed, we are still bitter about our past relationship, it's really a turnoff and it really is only harming you. So another piece of the mindset is to really know yourself, to know your light and your dark. Some people call it your shadow, the parts of you that you don't really bring out to the surface. It's important that you know that because in times of turmoil and stress, that's the you that's going to come out until you've looked at it, processed it, and made some conscious efforts to change it. There is some degree of changing ourselves that becomes necessary when we're in a long-term relationship. But even changing yourself really starts with knowing yourself and loving yourself just the way you are, because we will always be limited in how much we can love others and how much we can accept love from others by how much we love ourselves. Having the right mindset for dating will stack the odds in your favor. It's a very different experience going out there into the world of online dating and meeting people when you have a clear mindset, when you're focused on finding that needle and ignoring the hay. And I've seen it happen over and over again with people. Another mindset trick is learning the skills that it takes to make a relationship last. So a lot of people are surfing the internet for texts that will grab people's attention, or what does it mean when he says this, or how do I get a girl to do this? And they're getting all of these tips and advice, but they're tricks or they're short-term minded. And what I recommend is, even from the very beginning, to set the foundation for a relationship that would last. Being authentic, being honest, being playful, having fun, being open-minded, not set in your ways. These are all things that help in the first stages of dating, but will also create a great foundation to carry into a long-lasting relationship. And you can do this yourself. You can read books, you can find information online, you can go to, if you have someone in your life who has an amazing relationship that you admire, I would recommend meeting with them. Sadly, a lot of us don't know that many of those. But if you don't want to spend the time to do it yourself, you can also hire an expert. There are therapists, there are coaches, there are a lot of people out there that can help in this area. So again, to help create more time for dating, follow these steps: prioritize, use technology, be present, and have the right mindset. If you are someone who would like some help with this, you can apply for a Turn Your Love Life Around session with me on my website. My website is hearthunterslovecoaching.com. I am Whitney Kobrin, love coach and owner of Heart Hunters Love Coaching. And again, if you're interested in finding out more about my services or talking about your own love life, getting some more tips on how to create a foundation for a lasting relationship, or how to use online dating in the right way, or how to get over past hurt and love yourself, I would be happy to talk to you. So there's a link on my website to apply for your Turn Your Love Life Around session. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.